Today we have with us Mr. Saurabh Mittal, who received the Distinguished Alumni Award for the session 2016-17. Hello, sir.
Hi,
Uh,
Sumesh. How are you?
Sir, we'll start with the event that is creating the most buzz in the institute, the new sports complex. I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to know the backstory behind all of this and how did this actually come about and why exactly the sports complex and the expansion of the SAC.
Thanks, Sumesh. It's actually something that's very close to my heart because, there is no real backstory except that I had spent a lot of my time while I was here at IIT in the extracurricular and co-curricular activities. I was, GSEC of RCA. I was captain of the swimming and water polo team. And I felt that the interactions that we had as students in those spheres were equally, if not more important, than what we had within the closed halls of the lecture theatre. And as the school has expanded and basically doubled in size in terms of number of undergrad population from our times, I think the student facilities have not kept in place because the college has, with its limited resources, really focused that on the academic part. And while I agree that academics should be very strong, I would love as a world class leading institution that they're great co-curricular and extracurricular activity facilities. And I saw an opportunity that we could help build the sports complex, which actually does two things at once. By consolidating a lot of the indoor sport activities into one area, which is completely new, it will also free up SAC for additional extracurricular activities and increase the RCA footprint also. And so it was actually killing two birds with that one stone, a very elegant, typical IIT solution. And I loved it. And I'm really grateful that I was allowed to be a part of that to have built it.
So on the same note, sir, how exactly did IIT help you grow as an individual, professionally and on a personal level also?
So, like all of you, I came to IIT as I turned 18 in IIT, right? So we came without any background. We had just been in our homes. Our parents had helped us study, and we had done different things, but we had never been in a world class place with other world class people, away from home, away from all support. And that's what IIT Delhi was, and it truly became our home for the next 4 years. And in our time, if you remember, if you guys can't imagine a time that we had where there was no mobile phone, no internet. The common room was your home. You spend all your time doing sports, doing other things, doing extracurricular activities, or studying. And it really forged you because you could have been the best student in your time in your class, where you were coming from your town, but it meant nothing here because everybody else was smart and everybody else was smarter probably than you. And that really puts you to truly start dealing with the world at the very highest levels of intellect and competence. And fundamentally, you also saw that, listen, long term, the people who were doing well and who succeeded were the people who worked hard, who made great friends, who were, fundamentally good people. And it taught you a lot of very, very important and good life lessons. I think I learned a lot in the field of sports and the field of, when I organized Rendezvous in 94. How do we build a business plan? How do we build a festival with very little support? And that all helped eventually in whatever else I did in life. So I think IIT was the cauldron in which the ingots of gold were really nurtured for all of us.
So, sir, like these friends that you make, these connections that you make at IIT, they actually last for a lifetime.
Their lifetime.
But again, like life does evolve, right?
Yes.
So, at what point in your life did you decide that you wanted to build your career around entrepreneurship and business building as opposed to all of the other?
Actually, within IIT, I had two small businesses when I was in IIT, which now that I look back, I laugh at the scale that they were. I was writing software code for basically small amounts of money because computers had just started in terms of, and did a project for a small textile export company, got some money from it, and so it was just you could see that it was very different than getting paid per hour. Or getting versus actually owning the business, very very small business. I had just one or two more people with me, and make it starting to, and you could see the impact that could have if you actually were able to spend the time and effort on it. And second, really interestingly, I had a t-shirt business. I printed actually probably of my time the most seminal IIT Delhi t-shirt, which everybody bought. I think we sold like 3,000 pieces in 2 years. and made a lot of money doing that, and also understood factors of production in it, because I had a bunch of my friends who helped us, who helped me and execute that. And eventually, within 6 months, I became the capitalist, where I was just directing the business, and then there was somebody who was doing sales, somebody else who was doing the production, somebody else who did the design, and it was a mini business. In rupee terms, small, but in terms of coming together. So IT was actually the place I learned how to do little things like business, and that put my lifelong interest in harnessing the power of capitalism in business.
So, we know that you co-founded Indiabulls right after your MBA from Harvard, and then went on to create Mission Holdings. What were the challenges that you faced when you were building these companies from scratch, and how did the two experiences differ? How do you compare them, or let's say, even the lessons that you learned from your first large-scale business, Indiabulls, as you've already talked about the small-scale businesses, and how did they help you in establishing Mission Holdings?
So I think every entrepreneurship opportunity and every business opportunity is unique in itself, but you can take a few common threads through them. Starting India Bulls when we did with my two other partners, we were very young. I was 25. I think Samir was also 25, and the other partner Rajiv was 26. And so you start as a very young person, and you have no fear. That's the big difference. You don't know failure. You have no fear. We started at the time of the 99.com boom, and when it felt if you did not start a business, you would lose out. I still believe that actually is true. That if you don't take risk and you don't follow uh, an unconventional path, you're leaving too much on the table from a long term success perspective. That business was very hard to build, especially the first 4 or 5 years when the company was not well known at all. Kudos to both my partners who were, we all went through an amazing journey through the cauldron of very on the ground entrepreneurship. Our first office was in a small Parchati, a little on behind an Essex Farms, and close to IIT. And to there to now, it's a very large listed company with lots of large businesses. I think it was a very dynamic and intense journey, and the first 4 or 5 years exceptionally hard, but every day is a challenge as a business. From there, I learned the power of grit and of never giving up and of fighting every dark period with more effort, and which turns into a beautiful next day. And the way and the out and the impact that your efforts and your team's effort can have on the outcomes. It's not the hand that you get is not what's ordained, but the hand is what you create. And that's what I learned through this experience. And as I set up Mission Holdings, we are trying to do that a little more systematically, because this time we know we've done it before. And so we have currently three companies that we are incubating, where I'm basically the business partner of the company with a partner specifically dedicated to that business. There is Incido Inc., which actually is headed by a very close friend of mine, very dear friend of mine, who was also at IT Delhi roughly the same time, Nitin Seth. And he's the CEO of the company, and he and I partner to build the business to the next level, and has a lot of other very senior IT Delhi folks in it. There's a sports media business in Singapore that I'd founded a few years ago, and where my partner is Chatri, who's a Thai American who was my classmate from HBS, from Harvard. And we are building what hopefully is now the largest sports media property across Asia. We've not come to India yet because India is too cricket mad, but in our markets is the highest watch sport. And probably our market share in some of the countries we are is higher than what cricket has in India. In India, so it's a very up and coming business. And then finally, I have another partnership with a guy called Gavin Sharma, who was my junior from IT Delhi, and he's building BSI Financial, where we have now the third largest sub-servicer in a very specific loan category in the US. So it's a business that he's built in the last 7 8 years, and I've been his partner in the whole journey. So everywhere it's the same principles that we apply. Put your best foot forward, determination, grit, and face the worst moments head on. Be creative, find new solutions, always keep learning, expand your horizons. It's very simple motherhood and apple pie type things, but if you practice them every day and do them again and again and again, success will be yours. It's not difficult.
Any specific experience from your life at IIT that you'd want to share?
I think I loved the entire 4 year period. It was just fantastic. I even loved the minor little tips you would have sometimes. So I think it was just a fantastic experience. The highlight definitely was the Rendezvous '94 that we did, and the sports trophy that Aravali won when I was in Aravali under Nitin Seth's leadership, and those would be the probably the two big highlights. Rendezvous '94 became a massive explosion of our expression in terms of capabilities as the entire team that I had put together. Our budget was 3 or 4 times that of the rendezvous before us because we changed the business model which we wanted to adopt there. And being part of the team that Nitin led to win the GEC for Aravali was just a different experience. And that was like a truly wonderful memory.
Sir, I'm also from Aravali.
Yes.
So what was the
Araga Tempo.
Nara back then? Araga Tempo.
Araga Tempo High. And then we had a lot of other things that should not go on Family Channel.
So, sir, any concluding note for the students at IIT that you'd want to give?
Yeah, I just believe, I just look at, when I was at the convocation, I said the same thing. And whenever I meet anybody from IIT, especially, because I identify more with the undergraduates, but it's true for any degree holder. I think that the human potential you have demonstrated is, I truly believe, bar none, among the highest in the world. The admission, the ability to get admission into an institution of this nature, the amount of hard work that goes in, the fact that it's a pure meritocracy, there is no shortcut. The fact that the time in college life is a pure meritocracy. There's a force curve GPA. There is, student leadership is not given to you. You have to work for it. You have to prove yourself. I think you have proven that you have all the ingredients of success. I think from here, you have to have the confidence and the imagination to want to take on the world. Do not take the low risk approach. If you want to be a professor and you want to be a leader in the technical field, then be the best you can be in that and really go explore the frontiers of science and technology. Do not take the safe approach. Do not go join, something that will be a nice babu dub. Just spend, if you're going to be part of the civil services in India, then be a true change maker. You have the intellectual capability, the rigor, the competence to make change, to make things happen. Do not undersell yourself. Do not play safe. Take the risk in whatever field you choose, and your rewards will be manifold for yourself and for everyone around you.
It was an amazing talk with you, sir.
Thanks so much.
We thank Saurabh sir for joining us here.
Thank you. My pleasure. Best of luck to all of you.
Thank you so much.